Hi, welcome back to Just Peter. Today I have an amazing guest, Jon Rivers, who has been a veteran in the Lemons ecosystem for many, many years. I think he shares a lot of information, especially for people new into the ecosystem, but also for people like me, like 16, 17 years in the ecosystem, do's and don'ts, and just some general advice. I had a great chat with him. Hopefully you will listen and see that as well. Have an amazing time. So, John, you've been part of this ecosystem for many, many years. What's one moment that really defined your journey?
One moment that defined my journey. Wow. There's just so many. I'm going to do as a little bit more of a multiple. Defining my journey is meeting all the amazing people through the community over the years I've been in the community. There's nothing more better than the people.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a large community, but it's mostly the same people for many, many, many years. Of course, new people get in,
Yep.
all around sketch.
Yeah. I mean, it's large, but it feels like a family. Like you said, Peter, at the end of the day is that a lot of us have been in this ecosystem for a long time, but there's also a lot of people who are new to the industry as well. But it always feels, it doesn't matter how big or small the event is, it doesn't feel like it's a massive event you're walking into. And look at, for me, the comparisons between other Microsoft events I've gone to compared to, say, maybe Summit, or I haven't gone to Dynamics Con, but those types of feedbacks I get, or even I know you were recently at Dynamics Minds, but at the end of the day, you walk into those, you don't feel that you're walking into, in some cases, into an event that's 1,000, 3,000, 5,000 people. You feel that it's still very small. Whereas I remember other Microsoft events a long time ago I used to go to, you probably only knew a handful of people, but then again, those events were more than Dynamics.
Yeah.
I think that makes a difference.
I absolutely agree. You know, back in the day when we had Convergence, it was 4,000 people or 5,000.
Right.
Which was a mix of customers, partners, ISVs, Microsoft.
Yep.
We knew a lot of people, but not all, for simple reasons. But if you look back at the WPC or Inspire, when there was also the hardware people there or the security people, then look, where did I end up? Especially in the last couple of years in Vegas, that the event became so big. Then
it did. It was close to 20,000 people back then.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just massive.
Massive. And they always put us in like a stadium where such an Adela would speak. And someone ended up near the air conditioning and was a frozen popsicle at the end of his speech. So, but that is true. So I think the community, I fully agree, it's a small community, but it's a very active community. Even in the US or Europe, I don't think that really matters. And even Asia nowadays. So, yeah. But good to hear that is the best part of your journey in the Dynamics ecosystem. My next question will be, John behind the scenes. So a lot of people know you already from work, LinkedIn, and from events. But who is John behind the scenes? So who is John at home?
Who's John at home? John at home is a family man. He's got two lovely daughters who are growing up very fast. My oldest is going to be turning 16 in a few months' time. And then my youngest will be turning 13. Both of them are amazing girls. Their grades are like just blow me apart of where they are. Youngest just got an award, or actually multiple awards to do with her math being one of the top in the class. So she's just blowing it apart. My other daughter, just the both of them, either straight A's or occasionally maybe a slip of a B, but they're all good there. That's part of me. What else it hasn't worked out? Yes, I've got this weird accent. So I'm originally from England, been in the US now for, we were just talking about it, 24 years and counting. Do miss home occasionally. Yes, and England's still home, but don't miss the rain and all that. But I do miss the sort of the old school part of Europe. What else? If you haven't seen my picture in the back, you'll see a Volkswagen bus. I'm actually a big Volkswagen Classic owner. Love that stuff. I actually have a Carmen Gear convertible, 1973. Love going to events and just hanging out with other Volkswagen folks. So that's one of the things I love to do on my time off. And then probably what's the last? There's probably many others, but I would say recently picked up golf. Again, that's probably because I'm in Tampa and we have lovely weather. So it's time that I started thinking about that. And maybe I need to start practicing ready for, at some point, maybe I will get to retire, but trying to make sure we get there. But I don't know if I'd ever retire. But so that's just a few of the things about me.
Oh, for the question on the Volkswagen, you also fix them and them per running again, or is it just you collect them?
So I try to do a little bit of work. It feels I'm trying to bring back my early, what should we say, late teens and early 20s, back in those days when a car was a little easier to actually fix. And I used to fix it all the time because, hey, your first car, you're probably spending more time fixing it, or it was back in those days. Probably a lot of us could relate to that. But I think over the years is that I think with the modern cars, you tend to not do a lot on them. So I feel like I'm rusty. So I'm trying to bring back some of that skill set. I will have a go. I did have some issues with my gear for a little bit. I went through, thought I'd fixed it all, still had a little issue. In the end, I had to go and see a friend of mine that specializes in them. And it turned out that there was a wire that had come loose and I didn't even notice it. Now I know it and I'll remember it, and if it happens again.
Yeah.
So I do try to have a go, Peter. Not the best, and I'm cautious. I'm just laughing in my head about, I had my modern car was like, I do not want to go and pay for someone to change the bulb on it. So the headlight had gone out, got the bulb, went to put it in, and the reason it wasn't working is because the existing bulb had fallen inside the lens. Oh, if I take my Volkswagen, that would have been an easy thing to have fixed. This modern one, forget it. It was like, I'm not ripping that apart. So at the end of the day, it's like I gave up on that, but I'll have a try.
So you're getting back to becoming a mechanic. When you retire, you will be able to fix most of the older cars because the new ones
are
not fixable. From my point of view, don't open them. Just leave them closed.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. And my oldest daughter loves hanging out with me when I go to the Volkswagens. And so she's technically coming up to that age now. She could probably start to get her driver's permit. Not that she's interested, but she is interested in having a Volkswagen bus as her vehicle. We may have to invest in one next year, which means I'm probably going to have to do some work on it to get it ready for her for when she does leave school. So
no time like tomorrow. So I think you have to start pretty soon on this.
Yep. Exactly.
So for my next question is, what drives you? I want to know what drives you, because you've been in this MS ecosystem for many, many years. And why are you staying? Why are you not going somewhere else?
Why have I not gone elsewhere?
Yeah.
It goes back to I love the community. I've lost track of how long I've been in this ecosystem now. I think a lot of us probably do that on purpose. At the same time I look at it and I actually don't go by years anymore. I've decided to use versions because it doesn't sound so bad in some cases. So I entered this space when it was Exapta 2.5. So I actually focused more on the Exapta side. I was working for an ISV at that time who was in the Jetty Edwards space, got screwed because of the Oracle acquisition. We got into the Microsoft. But what really drives me is because I love that community. My role and what I do is changed over the years. I've done pre-sales, I was developer, I was consulting, help desk, running a channel for an ISV. Nowadays, I have a marketing agency that helps partners and ISVs. I think it's the overall community. I sat on the directions board for over 11 years. And it's a long time, but at the same time, I enjoyed every minute. I look back and think about the hours I put into that. But do I regret it? No. At the end of the day, I love giving back to this community that respects it as well. I'm not saying other communities wouldn't, but I love the space.
Yeah.
And I think there's something about it. I think the product, we've gone through hurdles with product, ups and downs, and that's probably in a nice, polite way.
I can make a whole podcast about that one.
But it's evolved and where it's going and stuff like that. It's exciting. There's always something that's exciting about this space that keeps you going, really. And I think that it's going to continue. I think there's a lot of upside. So it really just drives me, but I love being around the people in this ecosystem. I think that's probably an area, I know that's probably twice now I've said that, but it does drive me a lot. I love it. And at the end of the day it's just meeting people like yourself and others. You just enjoy it.
Yeah. No, I can fully relate to it. The next one will be a little bit different. For example, if you wouldn't be in your current role and job, and you could pick something that you really, really, really want to do, fully outside of this ecosystem, without any history at all, what would it be?
So let's roll all the way back probably to when I was thinking about my career. I think back early on, I thought I was always going to go into computers and do something in that. But my other area that I did think of back then was actually become a chef.
Cooking.
Yeah.
Really?
Actually become something. And even to this day, I know you asked me a personal question earlier on, but at the end of the day is I love to cook. Probably don't do as much as I used to. But every once in a while I get this buzz in and I have to go out and cook something. So that's probably an area that maybe I would have gone if I'd gone down a different career.
And what would be the Jon special?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I love to bake, doing stuff around that. I loved the times when I felt like I had more time to actually cook. I probably would be trying recipes all the time that I haven't done, right? I've gone through everything. I would say if you want to take cuisines, probably Italian is probably my favorite, but I've cooked everything from Thai to Indian, you name it, I've probably had a go at it. Some of the things I've tried to cook probably have taken 2 or 3 days because I've literally not gone out there and bought the spices or whatever, the mixed spice together. I've actually spent the couple of days before prepping all of that and then doing the whole work. So yeah, at the end of the day, that's why it's probably challenging to do that stuff today.
Amazing. Yeah. So I like to cook as well. My favorite is also Italian, to be honest, but I do venture out of that system sometimes. We have a group of people that do. Then we eat together, and one prepares the main dish, the other the dessert. So last time I made a paella, which is a Spanish seafood dish, which was different, challenging, but I still like to do it. So I can absolutely relate. Cooking is my secret getaway, especially after 5, and then I have to cook, and I don't mind. Then it just relaxes me a little bit after a busy day. So yeah, I only.
When I was in Spain last year, we were in Barcelona for a few days. It was like, I think we probably had, out of all the foods, my oldest daughter was like, she got into it. It was like paella was the number one. I have to say I'm sorry, my American friends, but not having easy access to Europe from when I used to live in England is being able to go and trying all the different cuisines throughout Europe. I mean, for us, where you are as well in the Amsterdam area, is getting somewhere. It's like Friday night, I could be in another country.
Yeah.
Right. And be back at home on Sunday night. And that's an area that I probably miss the most, and be able to eat the food. But I will go back, right? We talk about all this food I grew up as basically meat and veg. That's it. So I didn't probably really have pizza until I was 15. I probably didn't try curry, like Indian curry, and probably until I was probably 18, 19. So I was later in life just because of the way we were brought up.
Nice. Cool. So now we dived a little bit more into Jon's life. Personally, he is almost a head chef and a mechanic. So, but he's been building many, many relationships over the past years. So for the new people that are coming into the channel, do you have a secret how to build relationships, and do you want to share it or give some tips?
I think I have a secret. It's really just go out there and find. I know it's challenging, right? So when you go to an event, go and find or try to connect yourself with people that are already out there, that people maybe know, who are willing to take you under their wing and start to introduce you to people. That's one of the things I love to do is I'm more than happy to, if I go back to directions, if I don't know you, At the end of the day, come and speak, come and tell me that, and I'll go and introduce you to a few people. And that's how I look at it. I think you got to get out there. I'm actually going to, again, put my personal side on the line here and actually say that early on, when I started going to conferences, I grew up as a very shy person. People are going to laugh at me. Yeah, that's not true. It is. At the end of the day is, if you'd put me into the conference, let's say we go to Directions, right? We go into the expo hall. Let's say I don't really know anyone. I'm going to go and stand in that corner, or maybe I'll grab some food and just stand at one of the tables. But I found it really hard to engage with people. And basically, it's funny because the job, I had to engage with people, but I worked on a different approach. And the reason I'm sharing this is because if you are like that, there are other ways. So yes, walking into the room sometimes can be hard. You don't know how to strike a conversation, or you don't know someone, right? At the end of the day, it's always helpful when you know at least one person that can inspire for you. But I turned to social media for me. That's how I build up my connections early on, is I reached out to people, but I felt that was a safe environment. So I was able to build up relationships over that, started to build more and more trust. And over time, when I met that person in person, right, it felt like we already knew each other. So it didn't feel that was that cold where we were just meeting for the first time. We'd already met somewhere online. And nowadays it's, hey, I don't think twice of it. Occasionally it does pop back, but I would say just find a way, either use social media to start connecting, go to the events, just find the right people. There's plenty of people out there who will take you under their wings.
Oh, I agree. I think it's a more open community now than it has been before. I think when I joined in 2009, it was more closed, more limited number of people. I think now also with the new people joining, it has opened up. More people are connected also through LinkedIn. And the thing that I always have is sometimes I don't recognize people anymore, especially when they're not on the event. So when they recognize me at the airport, I have absolutely no clue who they are because they're not in the event. So that my brain doesn't comprehend it. I'm like, never seen you before. And 10 minutes later, I walk into the event room and I see them. It's like, oh, yeah, well, but now I know. So for me, it's a dissociation between person and event. Sometimes I get a little bit of my thing, but most of the time I do remember people, but that is something I'm still working on.
No, I hear you. Yeah. I think the other one I would say, Peter, is basically make sure that you're keeping your LinkedIn, your photo up to date, because if it's a few years old, it's like, and I'm just going to pick on you, Peter, but maybe a couple of years ago, you didn't have the beard. And then suddenly your picture shows you without a beard, then you have one. I'm not saying you did, but I'm just using as an example. At the end of the day, sometimes you don't connect.
That was more Santa Claus, but that picture and nobody has those pictures anymore. No, I always have, the last couple of years, I think I had a beard or,
But it's just things like that, right? If things have changed, or even sometimes if you change your glasses and things like that, it can put people off. But I'm with you, is that I think over the years, I used to be able to, it's a trick I had of trying to remember names, but I struggle with that today. I think it's maybe because I'm getting older. I don't know what it is, but it's like I have to think a lot more if I see someone outside of the event, or like you said, sometimes you got to look in the event, you're looking at the badge just to remember them.
Yeah. And it's also more people that we have to remember, right? So we're walking LinkedIn station. And And what helps me sometimes is the logo of the company. And somehow my brain remembers logos and colors.
Right.
So if somebody has something on that has a resemblance of that, then it comes back to me. So I think we all have our own tricks, because to memorize every attendee every year will be a big challenge.
No, it is challenging. But it's also the core people again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but last time I met one of my people I worked with 10 years ago, and 10 years later we looked in each other's eyes and we were connected. And that was easy. So because we had so much fun in the past, that was an easy remembrance.
Yep.
But if it's somebody who just said hi during a beer, then it will be a different story.
Exactly.
Maybe it's also because of the beer, but we'll never know.
Yeah.
So I want to go to the next part, some advice from a veteran, right? You've been in this channel for many years. We have a lot of new people incoming, like just out of uni, like 20, 22 years old. What should be their focus between the first 6 to 12 months, especially maybe if they are in sales or marketing? I think that will be a good addition to it.
I think if they're just coming out, I think I would try to reach out to again some of those folks who are out there leading the charge, right? I'm just going to pick on marketing, or you could probably relate to sales as well. Find someone again that maybe can help a little bit mentor you. It's not to say that you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to, say, marketing, but it's fine if someone that's willing to help mentor, because they can help you as well with door openers. I've indirectly mentored quite a few people over the years, and I think that helps bring them. Again, it goes back to that question you said earlier on. If you're at an event and you have a mentor as a way for them to help introduce you to others, get yourself, again, it's a hard one, but try to put yourself out there. If there's an online marketing meetup that happens or an event that happens, try to go to it. For me personally, we have, like a lot of places, we have local meetings that happen. So you may have meetings that are run by, in the US here, we have Doug, Dynamics User Group, or you have Dynamics Communities. Either one of those may have, or both of them may have events that happen in your locale. I'm just going to pick on Doug here at the moment. There's a regular meetup, typically meets once a month, that happens here in Tampa. Yes, I'm marketing, but what it does is, am I ever going to, and again, like I said, I run an agency, and I'm looking for opportunity, but am I going to walk into that room and find an opportunity? Very small, very small. But what I do is I'm getting to connect with the people who are in the eco. But even better than that, if they're out there, say, talking about Copilot, right, or Power Automate and how that can take some processes, even if you're not technical, or it will help you understand a little bit more about the workings of the product, that will actually help you improve on how you go out and market it or even sell it, right? But it's also those meeting of other people. I think that to me is important. I find that really beneficial. And that's where I probably would say, hey, if you're new, if you're coming out of uni or college, or if you're just new to the space, entrench yourself into these other things that happen around now. I've done that for many years. I remember when I moved to the Washington, D.C. area, yes, I knew some people, but I didn't know very many. And I found an organization called the IMCP at that time. I joined it. It's funny. The story is I tried to go to their meetings, but they were advertising, but then it suddenly disappeared. They never happened, or that they never communicated. Anyway, eventually I got to go to one. I made this comment when I got there, and they said, yeah, we need a communication share. Yeah, so next month I ended up dragged into running their communications because they were lacking that. But that was more than just Dynamics, but I was part of that ecosystem, and it just took you out, work from home for like a home office for a while. So one, it was great meeting people, but at the end of the day, it entrenched you into that eco. And I think that is one of the areas I would give advice on.
Cool. I think there's a lot of advice, and I fully support that. For the new people who go to the events locally, I think they're also in Europe from IMCP or user groups or names, and there's a lot of different variations in different countries. And just one, check it out. Even if you have no clue what they're telling, I've been to development sessions. Trust me, I'm not a developer, so I had no clue what they were telling me, but I still was there just to connect with people.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it happens to me.
Yeah. And sometimes you learn something. Sometimes you think, what am I doing here? And then the nicest way possible. But then I know.
Right.
So, as well, of course, you work for, you have the marketing agency, Marketeery. You work a lot with partners and ISVs. And I just want to have one question about it. Like, do you see some common mistakes that ISVs or VARs or both make on a regular basis in their communication or their marketing outing?
I think it varies on the partners. One of the areas I think is that I'd put out is, in some cases, there's not enough investment. We work with a lot of smaller partners, And I know it's challenging because at the end of the day, we're a small organization as well. But it's also the investment. Your marketing, your outreach is what drives opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think there's a serious, maybe the word serious is not the right word, but it's the right investment to actually drive what you need to do. I think the other one I would add on top of that, which is all interconnected, is the shiny object. Is basically, oh, okay, I see everyone's being successful with a podcast. Let's set one up. But at the end of the day, it's not going to help drive business with just you doing one or two. Yeah, and I've been invited to quite a few podcasts over the years. And you may put 18 months, 24 months into it before it drives any opportunity for you. But at the same time, it's also what's helping you build your brand out there. And I think that's a key area. But I would just add another piece to that as well, is building the foundation. If your foundation, like your website, doesn't show you on your best foot, right? If we build a concrete foundation and we don't do it well and it cracks, well, what's going to happen to the house type of thing? You got to think about that. And that foundation is your website. So that's your foot in the door. If you're not driving the audience and they don't stay there, then there's a problem, right? So I think it's a mix of all that, but that really comes down to investment and understanding the importance of marketing as a whole is to the business.
Yeah, I'm always surprised, from marketing point of view, you have the agency cost, but also the out-of-pocket expense for LinkedIn or Google Ads.
Right.
People might underestimate how much it costs to run a campaign on clicks.
Yeah.
It's pretty expensive, and they show
Right.
over that. But I think the biggest thing I see is that websites don't perform. The URLs are not working. Get 404s when they click on something, or they have massively outdated information on there. First thing I do most of the time is scroll down to the website to see by year. Some do update the year every year, 2025, but not always. And some websites absolutely don't perform. And I even send messages to them like, this website is not working, or like, something is not working. This is what I encountered. I never get any reply on those things. So I'm not sure if it ends up with the right people, but nevertheless, I'm always surprised that partners and ISVs that are facing customers don't have their basics in order.
Yeah.
You can always have a discussion about taste and functionality wise, but the basics should be working. That's for sure.
And it goes back to your comment about you can very quickly spend a ton of money on paid ads, right? If that's Google or Bing or LinkedIn. But it goes back to if that foundation, right, the website doesn't have what you're trying to sell up here, if it doesn't meet that, and we've walked into opportunities and they said, okay, can you review our Google ad spend? And it's like, we're getting clicks, we're getting people over, but then they're dropping off. As we dove into it, really what the issue was the website, right? At the end of the day, when they were landing, they were jumping off straight away because what you were selling, all the bells and whistles that you could do in your ad wasn't there on the website. So the first thing we told them is cut your spend, stop spending that money, spend that money to resolve the foundation first. I think that's what we end up doing. I think a lot of the time we end up doing that, but yeah, you're right, Peter. Before this call, I was working on a couple sites here, as just evaluating them, and there was a ton of 404s that I just went and fixed for them because there was problems that downgrade you as well.
Yeah.
And you have to invest, right? I look at it as here at Marketeery is like, sometimes we talk about what we've invested in back-end software, this and that. And it's like, we look at it sometimes think, wow, if we had not spent that money, we could have put that in our pocket. But at the same time, we needed to do it to be successful, to grow as well.
Absolutely. And I think also for me, content should be more on the top 3 for every company, and not content copy-paste. This is the story of the vertical, but more from a customer perspective or personal perspective of what it means for you. Yeah, that's just my take on it.
No, I'm with you. Yes, I'm not going to say you can't go out there and use AI to help you, but you still got to put your personal voice on it, right? You got to humanize it, right? But also look at things that maybe others are not writing about, that is always going to be beneficial. Get into the weeds. You're right about bringing in customer stories. One of the things I think, going back to that foundation, the website, showing evidence, right? What is evidence? Is customer stories, right? All those types of things is showing maybe rewards you've won. And in a day, talking about that, and not just talking generalized, get into it. So if you're very focused on field service, just talk about field service and how it improves. Get into that conversation. But I think all of that is great, but also go back and look at the analytics on that and the data, see how it's performing and make the tweaks, but don't expect it. I think this is the one that I'm really going to stress. Don't expect I'm going to turn this on today and in 3 months later, I'm going to have hundreds of leads coming in. It takes time to build it out if you had no foundation in the beginning.
No, SEO takes a long time, but with a lot of other things as well.
Yes.
So, and a lot of more factors are coming in on that one as well. So it's not an easy side sometimes. Something it can be pretty small.
Exactly.
But sometimes massive. So yes, it's not a quick fix. So
no,
it's not
definitely
I give you 10 minutes, fix my issue. It takes a lot more than that, from a strategy point to an execution. I'm fully with you, John. So I'm the same rolling boat with many of the partners that I help, and this is what I'm preaching as well. So we're getting to the end. So my last question for today is, if people talk about Jon Rivers 10 years from now, what do you hope they say about you?
I would hope that I was able to help them be successful in wherever their career is taken. That's what I would like. At the end of the day is can look back and say, hey, I met John, he opened the door to this person, or he gave this advice or something like that. So I would say around the mentoring side of it. That to me would be a real privilege to have got that. 10 years, at the end of the day, I'll probably be still here. I mean, I think of someone else in the ecosystem. I don't know, do you know John Hendrickson? At the end of the day, he sold his practice a long time ago now, but he still turns up at events. I mean, he's semi-retired.
Yeah, but he also had a stint with Sage a couple of years ago.
Yes, he does that as well. But at the end of the day,
yeah.
I think he's still doing a little bit of that. But to me, it's things like that. I think even if I was retired, I'm probably still going to be turning up to him.
To be honest, I was surprised to see him as well. And I thought, is he still with Sage? That went through my mind. And what is he doing at this event? That was my inner dialogue. And it was like, didn't he retire as well? So it was like
It comes for two reasons. I know that I remember the story of something about his wife had pulled him back a little bit on the amount he spent when coming to events. And then that's when he got involved in Sage. I think he's still doing a little bit for them, but he also likes moving around. I know I caught a couple beers with him when we were at Directions back in a few months ago. But it's great to see some folks there in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yep.
So next year will be Orlando.
Yep.
Now we're preparing for Orlando Summit, of course.
Yes, we are.
So I will be there as well. So
likewise,
a bit longer flight than for you. You drive, I'm presuming.
Yeah, it's nice. I can just hop in a car. I'll probably go in a Friday night, spend the weekend just to get acclimatized. I always love to do that. I always love to go in a couple of days before just to enjoy, just relax, maybe play some golf, whatever it is.
Well, I will arrive early as well, but for me, it's more to get rid of the jet lag and be sure that I'm on the same time so as everybody else in the event. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish then. So most of the time 2 days before, and then I'm pretty sure that I'm in a better shape than I arrive a couple of hours before the event starts, because then I'm not okay. So yeah, I always do that. So thank you, John, for today.
Appreciate you having me.
And see you in a couple of months.
Yes, you will. Yeah, looking forward to it. Do you have any sessions at Summit, Peter?
My session got declined.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
So I'm writing a blog about all my declined sessions because I see a trend. So that my new blog post will go live hopefully this month, and probably will stir the pot a little bit. But I think for new speakers, and I can talk about this for hours, so I think new speakers have less opportunity to get on stage in general. But, and it's also very unclear sometimes, not for every event, who makes the decisions and why decisions are being made. So I think this issue has been already for years now. but I will try to put it in the spotlight again.
Yeah, more than happy to have that conversation a little bit. I ran the content for a while for directions. It is a hard one. Being on the other side as well, making the selection when you've only got, let's say, 200 slots, but you've got 600 sessions. It's how do you make that decision? I think the question mark I sometimes is look at that. It is tough to say no. I will, and I know we're going to wrap up here. I probably could talk about it for hours as well, but it is a challenge, especially when maybe new speakers or maybe some great topics didn't get selected, but then you see another speaker that gets 3 or 4 sessions, right? So it's what was that decision, right or wrong? Why wasn't it? I'm lucky I did get selected on a session. I'm going to talk about the differences between Copilot and ChatGPT. And then I got invited to actually help on another session. So I do have a session there, but some of the sessions I put in, there was another session with someone else. We were looking at compliance and all that stuff to do with Copilot. It didn't get selected. To me, that's questions being asked out there. So I wonder does the committee really understand the importance of that or not? Either way, I know it's tough. I know it's really tough out there.
I don't say it's tough, but I want to have an open discussion.
Yeah, have an open discussion. I think it's not a bad thing to do. I think we also have to, this is probably my last piece I'd say, I think we need to start swapping up is that if we take 3 events, right, it would benefit in one respect not to have the same people on all 3 people who are selecting. Let's put some new blood in there. Let's make sure, because I think there is a little bit of that going on as well in some places, and tough conversation. So more than happy to have that deeper with you. Can't wait to see your article, because I probably will chime in on that.
So that will be good. I think I will release it in July. Then
good for it.
So, but I will keep you posted when I do. Thank you, John, and have an amazing day.
And you. Thanks again, Peter.